I subject myself to this? Well, because it's a public domain horror movie using a public domain cartoon character, so it technically falls into the animation category, and it's because I knew it was going to suck. But I wanted to get this video out so that none of you have to subject yourselves to it. And I'm doing this without any script, without any written reviews or nothing, because this deserves the dignity of as little effort as possible, because obviously that's what the creators did when they remade this movie. There's zero effort. Zero. It's not until the end we actually get some on-screen stuff. Until then, it is just the same boring, meandering, tedious, pandering, garbage slog. And what do I mean by pandering? I mean pandering as in it's trying to rope in the Blood and Honey demographic. Problem is with Blood and Honey, it actually had some creativity. This has nothing. And as someone who's actually a fan of Blood and Honey, this is insulting. There's zero budget, zero good acting, zero good kills, zero scares, zero passion, zero anything. It's a zero everything. It is literally everything wrong with film in one movie. Literally everything. I thought it couldn't get worse than Strangers Chapter 1, but somehow, someway it did. With this pile of freaking trash. Now, I'm not going to swear or anything like that. That's too easy. But I am going to be giving this review as little effort as possible because the movie put in as little effort as possible, so why should I try? Let's just get this over with, so then we never have to talk about it again until the worst list. What's up? What's happening? What's going on? Welcome back to Animation, which is anything and everything animation, including TV movies as well. I'm your host, Chance Small. Welcome to my review / rant of Mickey's Mousetrap, or as it's been officially renamed, The Mousetrap. What is it about? It's a movie about a random guy in a Mickey Mouse mask killing people in an arcade that they locked themselves in. Alright, let's get the elephant out of the room. This movie was made for only the sole purpose of banking off the fact that Steamboat Willie, the original cartoon that created Mickey Mouse, is now officially public domain, meaning anyone can use it without getting sued by Disney. But unlike the actual Steamboat Willie movie, the one that's starring David Howard Thornton, which actually sounds really interesting, this was trash from the get-go, because it is as cheap as possible, it's as little effort as possible, and it's obvious that this was only made for the sake of money. And unlike Blood and Honey, that knew what it was and had fun with it, this was so up its own rear end that it's insulting to the audience. And it's insulting to the medium of film that this exists in the first place, to be honest with you. Like, what an awful, awful movie this was. I never thought that we were going to get worse than Strangers Chapter 1. I thought, like, okay, that's it. That's bottom of the barrel. It's not going to get worse than that. No, it got worse than that. Because 2024 just wants to consistently kick me in the nuts whenever I try to have some kind of hope for anything. Because this movie's trash. It is that bargain barrel trash that you find in a bargain bin at a store for like $5 that no one knows about, that is some weird independent thing. You watch it once, you realize it's crap, and then you throw it away. That's all this movie is. But problem is, it actually had the decency of being less than an hour and 20 minutes long. It's actually only an hour and 14. But it feels like 3 hours because it drags, it is horrible, it is slow, it is meandering, it is monotonous, and it pretty much has no plot. Like, there's a semblance of a plot, but there is no plot. And you want my first indication about how bad this movie is? It starts with a ripoff of the credit scroll from Star Wars, with bootleg plagiarized music and everything. Yeah, we're in for that kind of movie. A movie that is so far up its own rear end that it doesn't know what it actually is. It thinks that it's like some big dramatic piece of cinema, big a big horror movie that everyone should go and see. It's not that. This is a piece of trash that you're lucky to find in the barrels of Netflix and Prime. Like, it is so bad. It is so bad. Everything in this movie is awful. There's nothing good about it. Nothing. The mask is cheap. There's no story or plot whatsoever. The characters are crap. The writing is awful. The acting is some of the worst I have ever seen in anything, horror or otherwise. The kills are awful. Most of them are off screen until the final two at the end, and even then, it's just horrible CGI. There's little to no blood. There's some of the cringiest, most awful dialogue that you will ever hear in your life. It has agonizing pacing. It is slower than a snail. The villain is terrible. He's never revealed. There's no motivations or nothing. It just happens out of nowhere. Nothing's resolved. The cop characters are stupid. The actual characters themselves are stupid. It's everything wrong with a horror movie is what this is. And unlike some movies that are able to be like so bad it's good, like a cheesy 80s slasher, no, this isn't even that. It is one of those movies that thinks it is cinema and thinks it's actually a movie. When in reality, it was made to make money. And that's it. And it's clear that every single person involved only cared about this because they wanted to make money and they wanted to have that internet virality that Jagged Edge Productions got when they made Blood and Honey. And unlike Jagged Edge, which is actually trying to improve itself after the first movie that people hated so much, even though I didn't think it was that bad, but opinions be opinions, this was just crap from the very start with as little effort as possible. You want to know why? Here's the reason why. Because the biggest weakness of this movie's villain is light. And they make this stupid, weird Jason thing where he can teleport anywhere and everywhere in the dark. But in the light, he can't do nothing. And even the voice isn't that creepy. Like, it tries to be so many different things and it succeeds at being nothing. Like, it tries to be a horror movie, it tries to be a slasher, it tries to be a ripoff of Scream with its meta-textual bullcrap. And it just comes off as nothing but stupid, lazy cringe that obviously just had zero effort from anyone put into it. Now, I'm not saying the actors are terrible people. I'm sure they were all nice, and I'm sure that they had fun on set. That's not what I'm saying here. What I'm saying here is that the person that brought them together to make this is a greedy, talentless hack. Because he made this just for the sake of money. You want to know how I know? Because this movie was literally announced only a week after Steamboat Willie fell into public domain. After that, it was immediately announced, and everyone immediately knew what it was. And then there was a second announcement of another movie called Steamboat Willie. That actually looks pretty decent, but it's probably not coming out till next year. And then this movie was originally supposed to come out in March of this year, believe it or not. But for some reason it got delayed, and it came out this month, here in August. And it is one of the worst things I've ever seen in my life. It's not so bad it's good, it's just so bad that you feel like you're doing homework. It's the kind of boring where you're doing like a really long, boring assignment. It's an assignment is what it is. It is an assignment that you should never subject yourself to. Mickey's Mousetrap, more like freaking Mickey's Mouse crap. Final verdict for this movie is a 0 out of 10. The second 0 I've given this year, and it's somehow worse than Strangers Chapter 1. I didn't think that was possible, but we might actually have found the actual legit worst movie to come out this year. It is cringe, it is awful, it is terrible, it is garbage, it has no effort, and it was made for the sake of nothing but quick cash. It is literally an insult to cinema that it even exists in the first place. So yeah, don't subject yourself to it. I recommend that you avoid this thing and don't even touch it with a 10-foot pole because it's not worth your time, it's not worth the effort, it's not worth your money, and it's not worth wasting your life over. That's it. Thanks for watching this review. I'll see you next time. Hopefully for something better. Peace.